All right, so we're going to now use Power BI to represent the pay cycle. And we're going to use the PR gross to salary table you created earlier. If you don't actually have that, I'll recreate that now. Now remember, this is a outer join. It's an unmatched outer join. So the first thing we need is we need the payroll table. We're going to get payroll, open that up, use data, do join. And we're going to then pick up EMP mass, which has all of the payroll details in it. We want to join it on EMP no, which is employee number, from primary and secondary keys. Over they go. So now we've joined the two tables. We wanted to have all the records, all of the primary, all of the secondary. So because we're going to see some records here, if you recall, that there's an employee who wasn't paid. There are people who are paid who are not listed as employees. So we're going to keep that going. Gross to salary. Put that to an output table. I need to tell it the fields that I want. I'm going to pick them all up because that's easy to click on, but you could just pick the ones that were relevant. Click OK, overwrite the existing table. If you recall, there's our employee that's paid, that wasn't paid, that should have been paid, and two that were paid that perhaps shouldn't have been. Okay, good. All right, so far. We're going to export that table. So that's going to be data export. Pick up all the fields that we want. Send that off to my file. And I should already have one here named that. There we go. Save that. It's going out as an Excel file. Click OK. Yes, I do want to overwrite it. Excellent. Okay. Now, let's go into Power BI. Now, I'll start a new project. And I will close that, get my data that I just created, an Excel file. It's this one. And we now have in the data tab, as soon as I click on that, so we're loading up our data, not that it's all that much data. We now have a table that mirrors what we had in ACL. So we're just going to repeat the same exercise that we did earlier in ACL. The first thing that I want to do is I want to create myself an employee last name. So I will do that by clicking here, right click, new column, creates a column. And then we've got last name. There we are. And we're going to ampersand to concatenate, put a comma between, and first name. So what that's going to do is give me last name, comma, first name. Now, the tricky amongst you will know that you could use the lower command to go off and create a much more nicely formatted name. So you could have Karma with a capital C and ARMEN in lowercase. You could use the lower command to achieve that. I'll leave that for your exercise later on if that's what you'd like to do. And we're to call this the full name column. We're also to create a column called difference. Now this difference column, difference equals, is going to measure the difference between our gross pay and what we're supposed to be paid. If gross pay is more than pay per period, this will be a positive number. If it is less, it will be a negative number. So we're comparing what they're actually paid to what they're supposed to be paid. Press enter, that creates that column there. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people have been flagged as a result of that. They're the ones that are missing. So what I'm doing here is I'm now going to create a clustered column graph. Now the clustered is here. and I'll just make that big because I know it's going to be a big exercise. We want to graph gross pay. So where's gross pay? There's gross pay. Funny how the alphabet works. So we're going to put gross pay as a value and pay per period is a value. And then we're going to pick up their full name and put that on the axis. So here we are. We've now got our clustered column. And the black is what they should be paid. The green is what they were actually paid. So here we can see immediately, I don't know who that is. They got paid. We got no pay per period. And we've got, I think there's another one. This is one here that's not been paid. Let's sort that by full name. Sort it by ascending. Okay, so here we've got someone who hasn't been paid. Oh, okay, so what it's done, 435834, okay. I'm going to click through and see the records. Yes, so it's treated that as one person. That's what's going on there. So that is actually 2 records and there's no payment made. I could fiddle in the background and make that happen if I wanted. Stefano Maloney has not been paid and was supposed to be paid. Okay. So immediately I've got some questions to ask. If I wanted to show that separately, I would pick up their employee number and put that onto the axis. And that would then go off and cause me problems for some unknown reason because it's a number field. So I'm just going to leave it for our purposes as EMP no, full name. But you could modify your data, put the employee number in as a string, and then that would be different. Okay, now what I'm going to do is sort that by full name again. That way. Okay, that's good. Using the analytics option. So in here, we have analytics and we can add some things. So we can add a median and we can add an average. And you'll see that we've got 2 little lines there. Instantly, because I know my statistics, I know that if mean and median are like that, then I've got a skewed distribution. But that's okay. I just wanted to show you that I could put these things in here. I could do a min and I could do a max. There's the max, so that's the highest amount anyone's been paid. Isn't that interesting? That one there, the 2 employees together, it's almost the same height, which means the same amount. And the min is going to be down there because we've got Stefano on gross pay was not paid anything. So this is great for just showing some breakout lines and analyzing what we're looking at. Change it to a cluster, to a scatter chart. Change your cluster to a scatter chart. Here's a scatter. Look at that. We've got this one here is kicked out. This one here is kicked out. So that if they were all exactly the same as what they were supposed to be paid, that would just be a nice, smooth line. It's not. There's a couple of variations. And we've got one down here. Those there. So that's, and over here we've got the 0 ones. That's fine. That's good. I could, instead of building it that way, I could build it using my difference. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Pay per period. Bring that in there. Okay, so what I've got is a lovely scatter graph here. I've got one person over here who was paid more. So this is the 2 people, to be fair. They were paid much more than they should have been. Person over here was paid much less than he should have been. We've got some variation going on there. So that's my scatter chart, giving me a bit of a visual as to what I'm seeing. And I can see how far away they're going from the mean. And maybe, you know, maybe Stefano's quit and we just haven't caught up yet. And these people here have taken over the same role. And so we haven't caught up yet. Maybe that's what's going on. We are then to create a new clustered column graph that graphs gross pay and pay per period next to each other. So here's gross pay. So that's going to be a value, gross pay, pay per period. Not much meaning yet because we haven't given us employee name, which is full name. Put that in here as our axis. Now I'm seeing something. So I'm basically recreating the same graph. And I want to show only those where there's a difference. So that's going to be our difference figure. Bring that down to here. Turn on the advanced filtering. And I want to know if it is not 0. If it is 0, then that means pay per period and gross pay are the same. By doing this, I'm going to focus on just those ones where there was a difference. So that's all good. And that's the end of our exercises. I leave it to you to work out how you can split that out as a separate person. You would put employee number and attach it to the full name. Let's just do that. It won't be that hard. Go to our thing here. And we'll put a ampersand here. Put a space. I want to, I don't want that, I just want to be able to do this. Of course that will work. Ampersand, there we go. Double quote, bracket, close bracket, and EMP number. And I'll do that one because that will be coming from the payroll file. Otherwise it'll be blank if it's coming, the one. EMP node 2 is from EMP master. Obviously if someone is in payroll then and not an EMP master, there won't be an EMP node. We just want the one from payroll. Give it a close bracket. See what that does. Okay, so see here how it's given those 108 and 109. If I go back to my earlier graph and change it back to a cluster, and remove that. See how that was previously 2, it's now 1. So now I can see that I've got something different going on. And I had changed my values in here. So I bring back my gross pay. And that's what I was looking for before. And over here, on my focus one, I can see that I've got 108 and 109. So that's kind of terrific. Okay, that's the end of that exercise.